Hey there, welcome to Treadmill Review Guru. Today we're going to do a comparison look at the X32i by NordicTrack and the X22i. So these are both NordicTrack's incline trainers. They're very similar, but we're going to point out some distinct differences and just kind of give you an overall feel for the benefits and the trade-offs of each machine. All right, so as you can see, I've got both machines running. I tried to get the program to run simultaneously. So we had to hit both at the same time to see if we could get them, just kind of to give you a comparison view of exactly how each screen looks when it's running a program. I also have the belts running at 0.5 miles an hour. So that's as slow as they'll go, just so you can kind of see the movement behind me. So some of the similarities with these machines. They both incline to 40 degrees. So up here, the top of that deck will lift up to a 40 incline on both machines, and they both drop to a -6. So the incline is the same. They both have a reflex cushioning, and NordicTrack doesn't specify any difference, but the X32i just has a little more cushioning. It just feels a little more cushioned as you're walking on it, and we'll demo that in a minute. So another thing that is similar is they both display iFit information. So the programming content is going to be the same. You've obviously got a larger screen on one than the other one, but the actual interface and the app and all the information is the same for both machines. They both have the same warranty, and they both require roughly the same assembly. So assembly for one isn't necessarily any more challenging than the other. Differences. So there are some distinct differences. The footprint, the X32i is a little bit bigger. So, and I'll go over some of those dimensions with you. So this machine right here is 76 inches long and 73 inches high and about 40 inches wide, okay? It has a longer belt. So the belt is 65 inches long and 22 inches wide. The X22i is only 70 inches long. So it's about 6 inches shorter, but it's also 73 inches high and it's only 39 inches wide. So just a rough 1 inch difference in width between the two of them. However, the surface on this one, the belt size, is 60 inches long by 22 wide. So you're getting 5 extra inches of length on the 32i. So that's a distinct difference there, and the footprint is a little bit different. The weight of the machines is different. So the X32i weighs about 450 pounds. The X22i weighs about 410 pounds, but they'll both support up to 300 pounds. So the max weight capacity is the same. The other thing that you will notice is, although the decks are very similar, the uprights on the X32i are back closer to the top of the deck on this one. And on the X22i, they're shifted forward about 18 inches from the front of that deck. So it's just shifted back, but they are both angled, so it just kind of brings that console back over the top of the track. So you've got lots of room. You do have slightly longer motor hood up here. Not that the motor is up there, but just this top cover right here is about 7 inches on the X22i. And on the X32i, you'll notice up here, it's very, very narrow. It's only like 3 inches. So you've got a lot of space underneath there. Both machines do have wheels, so you can lift them. If you can see, there is a steel grab bar at the base of both machines, so you can lift them. And there are also adjustable leveling feet on both. So you can reach down and just kind of adjust to make sure that it doesn't rock on your floor. So that's kind of an overview of the frame. The X32i has a 4.25 horsepower motor, and the X22i has a 4.0 horsepower motor. You'd be hard pressed to tell the difference. However, motor power is always something we look for because it is a good reflection of how powerful the machine is going to be, whether or not it will be able to support long distances, high speeds, multiple users, things like that. So even though in regular daily use you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between a 4.0 and a 4.25 horsepower motor, it is something that, that we respect, the fact that it's just a little bigger. So that's nice. So let's do a little bit of a comparison between the two consoles. That's really the thing that you'll notice the most with these machines, is the X32i has this amazing 32-inch touchscreen. Crisp graphics, bright colors, it's just really easy and fun to watch. So one thing I did want to point out is on the touchscreen, when the screen itself is bigger, the touchscreen buttons are also bigger and the numbers are bigger. So for people who have maybe limited visibility, it is important to know that the numbers and the metric display are going to be larger on a larger touchscreen. So they're bigger on that one than they are on the X22i. Not that you can't see it, just as something to be aware of, especially because you do tap those buttons to display different metrics and things like that. So that makes a difference. Both screens will pivot and tilt, so you can adjust the angle on them. I've got this one set where I want it so I don't get overhead glare, so I'm going to keep it there. And then the buttons on the side of the console are the same for both. So you get the same buttons for incline and speed on both machines. A major difference on this one that you may or may not like is you can see how the grab bar down here is angled, okay? It's angled up so that you can have a really good feel, especially as you're inclined. But one thing that it does is because the screen is so large, your control panel is down here under this bar. Sometimes it can kind of be a pain. This -6 incline button is sometimes hard to reach. Same with the number 1 over here. It's kind of like weird in the corner. And the control buttons, the fan and the volume, they're just low. So it's not like it's a huge issue, but it's just something I've noticed. For taller users, they could have to reach down quite a bit. As the deck inclines, the console does not. So the console will stay there. So the higher you get, the lower those buttons are going to be, if that makes any sense. So that's one thing to be aware of. The other thing to be aware of is because the screen is so large, your water bottle pockets are back behind the screen, and the screen angles a little bit, so the water bottle pocket actually doesn't really hold a water bottle very well. It kind of pushes it off center, so it rattles. It would hold like a small bottle, but not a taller one. And there's no storage. So like a phone or something, you'd either have to put it back behind the screen or you'd have to set it on the ledge in front. So that's just something to be aware of. However, the screen is so nice and indulgent, and you have so much room up here that it really just is a very immersive experience. So one thing to be aware of is both machines had the same upgrades in 2021. So they both have a faster processor, they both have improved graphics, they have faster Wi-Fi connectivity, they're both Bluetooth enabled so that you can sync your wireless headphones and listen. They both have the Android 9 operating system, so they both have the same functionality. Really the biggest difference is just the screen size, and you get a little more color and a little brighter graphics on the X32i. So here we've got a closer look at the X22i console. Now, don't be fooled. When you put it next to the X32i, it looks small. This is not small. The screen is actually very lovely. It's easy to see. To be totally honest, between the two, I like this console design better, and I'll tell you why. So the screen is a little bit smaller, and that is something to be aware of. Your metric bar is going to be just a touch smaller, but I feel like it's still plenty large, especially as you're standing right here in front of it. You can see everything, touch everything, it's not a problem. You do have the same buttons on either side. The buttons on the side of the console, however, are a little larger on the X22i, just because there's a little more room. You also do have pockets on either side for a phone. So you could set your phone in there very easily, and the water bottle holder is easier to reach. So if I drop something in, I could grab it. If I have a water bottle, I can grab that way. And it's not affected by the direction of the screen. So it doesn't rattle around in there when you set your water bottle in. So there's a few functionality features that I like better on this one. I also like the console layout better because the console's a little smaller. This control panel is up above the horizontal bar, okay? So when that deck inclines, you don't have to reach down under the bar to adjust any of your controls down here. It's very easy to see and easy to reach. So that's just a few things that I like better. The overall size is a little smaller. I mean, I can just tell when I'm standing here that it isn't quite as roomy. but because the machine itself is large, I don't feel constricted in any way. You have plenty of room here. And the functionality of the screen makes it very easy to just enjoy the machine and move along. It has the same automation and the same iFit programs. All right, so let's take a look at some of the differences between the X32i and the X22i functionally. I have them both inclined to a level 40, so I'm just gonna walk up here. So it is really nice that they have these handles because it just allows you to find balance when you're up high. But you can see when I'm up here, I have to reach down to be able to touch that control panel. So let me drop it about halfway. I'm gonna drop it to a level 20, and I'm walking at 2 miles an hour. So just a little more comfortable. It brings me down a little closer to that panel. All right, I'm gonna drop it down to a level 10. And pick up my pace to 3 miles an hour. So you can see it's very quiet. I'm back kind of in the right position right in front of that console. So I'm gonna step over here and walk on this one. So I'm at a 40 incline. I'm gonna do 2 miles an hour. So even though I'm up high, for me, this panel's just easier to reach. So that's one reason I like it. So let me drop to a level 20. There you go. Don't really need to hold the handles at that point. And then I'm gonna drop it to a level 10. And pick up that pace to 3 miles an hour. So they're both the same. Same incline, same speed. So either one is quiet. If I step off, you'll notice there really isn't much noise in the background. A little bit of a whooshing sound, but not much. So let me come back over here. I'm gonna drop it to a level 6. And I'm gonna run for just a minute. So you can see how quiet that is. All right, let me do that over here. Drop it to a level 6. Pick up that pace. I want to see there's a slight bit more motor noise, but just a touch. And that's how they sound without anybody on them. All right, let me slow it down again. Take it to a flat road. All right, we got 3 miles an hour. And a flat road on both. So I'm gonna run one more time, kick it up to 6 miles an hour. All right. So that just kind of gives you an idea of the overall functionality of both the machines. They perform very similarly. There's minor differences. The X32i has a touch more cushioning, but I do like when you're inclined on the X22i, your proximity to the console, it's a little easier to navigate. So just kind of a general overview. So hopefully that comparison just kind of helps you get you an idea of the differences and the similarities between the X32i and the X22i. Which one appeals to you will depend on your space, your size, your needs, the number of runners you have in your home. We like both of these machines. When I set them out and walk on them, they're both equally comfortable. Obviously, the larger screen just gives you a better picture, but I actually like the console layout better on the X22i. So it's a toss-up between which we prefer. We leave it up to you to decide. So for more information, make sure and check out our written reviews on both machines at treadmillreviewguru.com. For current pricing, click the links below. And if you have any questions or comments, leave them down underneath. We'd love to know what you think. So my name's Kristen with Treadmill Review Guru, and we'll see you again soon.